You know, it's an interesting thing to think about Peter. I mean, we know from reading the Gospels that there was this really competitive thing between him and John, but really between all of the disciples. I mean, they were so competitive. They argued, they fought, they debated, they constantly tried to one-up each other. I mean, it was just endless. And you know that they would not have quickly let Peter off the hook for this. You know that they would have often reminded him about the time that he sank. You know, who did he think he was getting out of that boat? And, you know, he sank and he embarrassed himself and didn't have enough faith, didn't have any faith at all. I mean, I can just imagine all of that. But, you know, the truth is that before Peter sank, he walked. Nobody else was getting out of that boat. And you know what? Not only did Peter walk before he sank, Jesus knew he would walk again. And he did, didn't he? He did walk again. We see Peter prominent in the book of Acts. And this wasn't even his last mistake or his biggest. There would be others, and a much bigger one. But we see him prominent in the book of Acts, and we see him writing 1 Peter and 2 Peter. You know, I can so relate to that, having sunk myself. You know, after my wife left me and our then 17-year-old daughter, and I lost all the things I talked about, I struggled. I struggled so much for a few years. It was a few years before I got back on my feet spiritually, or really in many ways, even emotionally. It was so hard. For me, it was easier to post up at the sports bar and throw back a couple of beers and watch the game than it was to feel my feelings and to really grieve everything that I'd lost. And I made so many bad choices. I made so many of the same mistakes that others in my position had made, others who I had helped through their situations. And you know, there was a time when I certainly would have thought that God was done with me. And I'm so thankful for the people in my life who disagreed. I'm so thankful for people like my daughter Lauren, who wouldn't let her daddy think for 1 minute that God was done with him. I'm so thankful for my wife Miranda, who from the beginning of our relationship told me, there is no way God is done with you. There's no way God doesn't want you to use the gift he's given you. I'm so thankful for friends like Gino, who was among the first to invite me to come and speak. You know, I only started speaking again in 2014 and had not spoken at many churches when Gino had me speak here in 2015. And I'm so grateful for that. Thank you, Gino. That says a lot about your pastor. Not just how they talk about grace, but how they practice it. Gino practices grace. He teaches it and he practices it. I'm so grateful for that. And I hope that you have someone in your life, you know, if you have recently gone beneath the water, I hope that you have someone in your life. Maybe for just this minute, I could be that person to remind you that before you sank, you walked. Maybe I can be that person for just this moment to encourage you that you're going to walk again. That no matter what you've done, no matter what's been done to you, that God loves you still. And he has an ability to make something beautiful out of even the ugliest things in your life.